Okay, in number 1, we're supposed to simplify 2x plus 6 plus 3x minus 4. Since we're doing adding and subtracting in the same expression, all of those are equal in the order of operations, so we must move from left to right. The next thing we have to do is to combine like terms. We start with the ones on the left. 2x has in common 3x. We have 2x and a positive 3x, which equals 5x. So we can mark this guy out and mark this guy out too. What we're left with is a positive 6 and a negative 4, or 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. But we don't retain this negative sign here. Because the answer is positive 2, we must put a plus 2 here. Therefore, the answer is 5x plus 2. For number 2, what is the value of the expression below when a equals 5 and b equals negative 5? Well, all we do here is simply plug these in to this expression, b and a, which then turns this expression into 3 times 5, and to keep them separated we can put a parenthesis around it, plus negative 5 to the third power, which is also negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. A negative times a negative is always going to be a positive. So this simplifies to 25, and then we're left multiplying that by the negative 5, which turns out to be negative 125, because anytime we multiply a positive times a negative, we're going to get a negative. Now we're not done up here yet. We still have to multiply the 3 times the 5, which comes out to 15. Then we bring the 125 over, and we must simplify from here. Now let me erase most of this so we can continue going, because there's a concept here that I think you need to understand. Because what we're doing, we're taking a small number and we're subtracting a larger number from it. Now here's how I want you to think of this. Anytime you have a smaller number and you're subtracting a larger number, think about temperature. If it was 15 degrees outside and all of a sudden the temperature dropped by 125 degrees, like what happens a lot of times on the surface of Mars, you're going to end up with a negative number. The answer is going to be, and you can use a number line to figure this out, but the answer is going to be negative 110. Therefore, the answer to number 2 is negative 110. Here we have a question about the coordinate plane. Which point below is located at negative 2, negative 4 on the coordinate plane? Well, anytime we have an ordered pair, x will always come before y. X, this is the x value, this is the y value. The best way to remember this is to simply remember that x comes before y in the alphabet. In addition to that, your graph will have the x-axis and the y-axis labeled. Therefore, if this is the x value, we must find out where that is on the x-axis first. This is negative 2. So we're going to go over 1, 2 to negative 2. Then we're going to find negative 4 on the y-axis. Since we have a negative 4, we know that's going to be below 0. And we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 from our previous spot of negative 2. Therefore, the answer to this question will be P. Number 4. The number of dollars in Jason's wallet is 4 more than half the number of dollars in Jack's wallet. Jason has $20 in his wallet. The equation below represents this situation. What we must do in a word problem is break the problem down and look for our key words like we learned about earlier this year. The number of dollars in Jason's wallet is 4 more than. Well, anytime we see 4 more than, we know that we're going to see a plus 4, which we have right here. Then we also have half the number of dollars in Jack's wallet. Half of anything can be represented by some variable, x, y, z, j, whatever you want to use, over 2. Well, we also have that here. And we also see $20, which is represented right here. Now the equation below represents this, and the question is asking you, what does the x or the variable represent? Well, we already know that half of anything can be expressed with x over 2. Half the number of. Well, half of what? Half the number of dollars in Jack's wallet. Therefore, the x represents the number of dollars in Jack's wallet. In number 5, what is the product of -4 and -15? Well, we learned that anytime we see the word product, that word indicates multiplication. Therefore, we can rewrite this problem as -4 times -15. Well, anytime we have a negative times a negative, we know that the answer is going to be positive. So let's go ahead and write this out and multiply it out. -15 times a -4. 4 times 5 is 20. We carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. And we know we retain a positive sign, or we know that the answer will be positive. Therefore, the answer to this question will be 60. Positive 60. What is the difference? Well, anytime we see the word difference, we know that we're going to be subtracting, as is indicated by this minus sign here. Now, in this case, we're subtracting one expression from another. These are two separate things that we must subtract. This is much different than just your regular run-of-the-mill expression that you have to solve. Anytime you're subtracting two expressions, or one expression from the other, you have to pay close attention to the sign that is between the two of them. In this case, we have a negative sign. If that is the case, anytime we have a negative sign between two expressions, unfortunately, we have to change the signs of everything within that second parentheses, or within the parentheses on the other side of the minus sign. And then we have to simplify. Therefore, this expression becomes 7, because we don't change the sign of the 7, we only change the signs of everything within this one, plus 6r. Now again, we have to change the signs of everything within here. So the opposite of, one of our vocabulary terms, the opposite of 3r will be negative 3r. The opposite of -4 will be positive 4. And then we simplify. Since we're doing adding and subtraction, those are both equal in the order of operations, so we naturally would move from left to right, and we will combine like terms. We have 7 here, and then a positive 4, or 7 plus 4, which equals 11. We can mark that guy out and mark that guy out. Then we have a positive 6r, and then a negative 3r, or 6r minus 3r. And we're left with a positive 3r. Please remember that we don't retain this sign here. We have to put up here in the expression what is left between the 6 after we subtract the 3r, which is a positive 3r.